Good afternoon. Good afternoon, and welcome to Let's Talk on Win TV. Today kicks off our month. Well, Black History Month was our month as well, but this is Women's History Month, and we have put together a show of four incredible women leaders joining us to discuss important topics and the impact they're making on our community. Some names you know, actually most names you know, but you may not have heard from them in a moment. So we are looking forward to having this conversation with them. Again, I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer and host of Let's Talk. Before we talk about Women's History Month a little bit, I've got to share with you. I think you all might see my little bumblebee right here. I think it's a little bumblebee. The Washington Informer sponsors the Prince George's Spelling Bee and the DC Citywide Spelling Bee. And this evening at the Clarice Smith Center for Performing Arts, we are going to see 30, I think it's 37 of Prince George's top spellers compete for the title of Spelling Bee Champion for the county. And that winner will go on to represent Prince George's County at the Scripps National Spelling Bee that will be held at the Gaylord in late May. So if you just happen to be out and want to come by to Clarice Smith and really cheer on these young people, they're in the 5th through 8th grades. Come on in and let's show them our support. We will be sharing photos and other highlights from the spelling bee in upcoming issues of the Washington Informer and maybe even here on Let's Talk. But just wanted to invite you all out and be with us and explain my bee colors today and my little bee here because we love the spelling bee and we certainly love supporting these young people. But anyway, getting back to today, which is Women's History Month, we have, as I said, 4 incredible leaders joining us to discuss important topics, and they include Gwen Carr, an activist and mother of Eric Garner, and whose name you should remember. And we'll talk a little bit about Eric Garner and the very, very horrific event that took place, actually, that's still impacting her life, but has made her an activist and founder of something called the Eric Initiative Foundation Incorporated and Mothers of the Movement. Looking really forward to talking to her and also to get her opinion and to discuss the menthol ban and other issues that she's advocating for justice and change. We're also going to talk to Angela Franco, the president and CEO of the DC Chamber of Commerce, woman that's working hard to support businesses here in the District of Columbia. She's going to share her insights on business leadership, economic development, and the importance of empowering women in the workforce. And another woman who is no stranger to Let's Talk, Win TV, of course, is our former First Lady, Cora Masters Berry, who will talk about the intersection of Black culture and history through Blacks in Wax hip hop exhibit that she loves working with young people. And this Blacks in Wax exhibit that she has been doing annually really is an amazing event. So she's going to shed light on the struggles and triumphs of the Black community through art and storytelling. And last but not least, we look forward to having Thene Freeman, the director of the DC Department of Recreation, who's going to share with us the upcoming Fit DC Her Story 5K run. Got to get ready for that one. She'll discuss the importance of promoting women's health and fitness in the community. So we look forward to talking with all of our guests today. But before we jump into our conversations, please make sure you pick up a copy of the most recent issue of the Washington Informer. If you can't get a printed copy, and I always like to show the printed copy, we had an amazing event yesterday talking about how to brand and support your business. It was a smart marketing event that we held at the beautiful Carlisle Room in downtown DC. And so we'll share some of that with you all later on. But the fact that we still are publishing the Washington Informer, and sadly, after losing DCist, the most recent news we heard last Friday, we realize how imperative it is for us to continue, one, publishing this newspaper until those of you all out here decide that you do not want to read print newspapers anymore. Until we hear that, we're going to keep printing the Informer. So you can pick up a copy at over 600 locations in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We hope you'll do so. But if you don't want the printed copy, you can access the digital edition anytime, anywhere by visiting WashingtonInformer.com. Again, that's WashingtonInformer.com. Access is free. And by becoming a subscriber, you'll receive our publication directly in your inbox, along with daily news updates from our exclusive e-service, our exclusive e-news service, Win Daily. It's a newsletter that goes out every single day. And while tuning into the show today, spread the word, share this broadcast on your social media platforms. And if you happen to jump over on your, particularly if you can pick up your phone, if you're not already on it, go to WashingtonInformer.com. We really, really would like for you to sign up and get our e-newsletter every day. But you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Our small and mighty team is everywhere, making sure that we can find you and you can follow us wherever is your favorite platform. We want to be there for you. So you can help us out by subscribing to our YouTube channel here at Washington Informer TV. Again, that's Washington Informer TV. As you can see, no spaces. So if you're on YouTube, please go there and subscribe. We're going to put up a ticker because we're trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and we are about 300 away. So we would love for you to sign up there. It makes a big difference for us as we continue to try to grow and report more local news for our readers and our community at large. So before we get on with our program, let's watch our weekly news broadcast by Curtis Knowles.
This is Win TV News, bringing you the news that matters. An alliance of labor unions have dealt a significant blow to the proposed relocation of the Washington Capitals and Wizards from downtown D.C. to Alexandria, Virginia. The latest obstacle adds complexity to an already challenging plan that faces resistance among legislators in Richmond. Despite promises from project officials and Monumental Sports Entertainment, the team's owners, to prioritize union labor for constructing the new arena, the Northern Virginia AFL-CIO strongly criticized the proposal, prompting Democrats in Virginia to pull their support. The union stance follows unsuccessful negotiations with state officials and Monumental, and approval from Virginia state lawmakers and the Alexandria City Council remains essential for the $2 billion project to proceed. An active duty member of the U.S. Air Force has died after he self-immolated outside of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., while declaring, quote, he will no longer be complicit in genocide and to free Palestine. The 25-year-old airman Aaron Bushnell of San Antonio, Texas, died from his injuries, according to Metropolitan Police. Bushnell was a cyber defense operations specialist with the 531st Intelligence Support Squadron at Joint Base San Antonio, and he has served on active duty since May of 2020. Demonstrators held a vigil for Bushnell outside of the Israeli embassy Monday night. Award-winning actress Whoopi Goldberg is stepping into the legacy of aiming to redefine the narrative of Black representation in family-friendly streaming by investing in BLK Fam. Launched on February 26 across multiple platforms, BLK Fam could be a significant stride towards addressing the underrepresentation of Black families in the streaming market. At its inception, BLK Fam boasted a content library featuring over 20 syndicated series and composing over 1,000 hours of animation titles and dozens of animated characters of color with diverse gender experiences. The platform also offers hundreds of hours of original music-driven content, signaling a commitment to fostering an authentic and inclusive narrative.
Thank you, Curtis. Always love to get those weekly updates, and thank you for providing us with that. And again, thank you all for watching Let's Talk here on Win TV. We're going to start with our first guest on this sponsored segment of Win TV, and that is Gwen Carr. Help me in welcoming her to the program.
What are your thoughts on this proposed menthol cigarette ban?
I am against the menthol ban because it's going to cause unintended consequences. It's 80% of the Black Americans, the Black communities that smoke the menthol cigarette. And this is where the problem lies. When the medical profession is ready to come down on someone, who are they going to bring with them? The police officers. They're not coming by themselves. Why aren't they going in Marlboro country? Why aren't they banning all cigarettes? Menthol never killed anyone. It's the nicotine and tar that's in every cigarette that's killing people. So to me, you are targeting a certain group of people.
Wow. Gwen Carr, welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a real pleasure. I've had a chance to meet you in the past and to see your advocacy on so many levels, thanks to the fact that you're out here fighting for the life that you lost of your son Eric Garner, but also other issues that impact our community. So, what's keeping you so busy?
Well, that's part of my healing, keeping busy, trying to save other lives, even though I lost my son almost 10 years ago, but there are other lives that we have to save.
Ms. Carr, do me a favor and our viewers a favor, because we know the name Eric Garner, and there's parts, aspects of his loss that sort of still echoes in our ear. But can you, if you don't mind, just refresh our recollection of what happened to Eric?
Yeah, well, in July, it would be 10 years. 10 years ago, the police officers in New York City, they Pantaleo particularly, he choked my son to death. My son said, "I can't breathe." 11 times he said, "I can't breathe." But they were disconcerted about his life. They did not put any value on his life and murdered my son that day. And from that day on, I've had a dark place in my heart. And I decided, instead of just to sit in the corner and mourn, I was turning my mourning into a movement. And now my sorrow is a strategy. So I'm going to advocate, I'm going to uplift his name, and until the day I die, everybody's going to remember who Eric Garner was or is.
Is there, and we're really proud of you, because as I said, I've seen you speak, you going around the country, you've met with other mothers,
Yes.
and talk about the relationships that you've developed as a result of that.
Well, we have developed an extensive relationship. Now, lots of people know the name Eric Garner, they know Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, but there are so many thousands of mothers that no one even heard of their name. And we go around the country and we advocate. We get people who had no media coverage, who had not even 5 minutes on TV, and we bring them and we share our platform with them. And once a year, I get together with them. I bring them to New York, and we just sit and we commune together. We embrace each other. We empower each other. We don't necessarily speak about the tragedy, because we all know the tragedy, but we speak about our children as they lived. We talk about how funny they was, how silly they was, what they liked to eat, what their strengths were. And this gets us over. And a lot of people, a lot of the mothers, they healed this way.
I think a lot of the mothers, including yourself, have looked and recognized how legislation, how laws across the country impact, the lives of the individuals that you've lost, the children that you've lost. And I'm pretty sure you've advocated for some of these laws to be changed. Are there any success stories that you think you've experienced, or what is it that you're still working on?
Oh, sure. Some of the success stories we've had. Well, first of all, meeting with Governor Cuomo when he was governor, and we got an executive order for a special prosecutor signed, and that was with myself and other New York mothers going up to Albany on a regular, snow, rain, sleet, we didn't care, and, asking him to meet with us, which at first he didn't. But then we brought makeshift coffins, put them in front of his door, and asked him, "What are you going to do with all these bodies?" At that point, he decided to meet with us and told us if his special prosecutor bill didn't pass in session, that he would speak with us. So it didn't pass. So we went back to him and we got him to sign the executive order for the special prosecutor, which what it does when these senseless killings take place, it takes it out of the hands of the local DA and put it in the hands of the attorney general, the state attorney general. And this now is law. And another law that I've gotten passed was the Eric Garner anti-chokehold bill, which makes it against the law for the police officers to choke anyone or to restrict their breathing. And the Right to Know Act. I've been on a lot of bills, and I've asked the lawmakers, the legislators, to stand with me. And I don't believe in writing letters. I don't believe in phone calls. I want to look at them in the face. I want to face them face to face and take roll call. Are you going to support us?
I mean, I commend you and the mothers for going right to the juggernaut, the legislators who, a lot of these laws have protected police and other entities, and now you know where to go to get those laws changed.
Definitely.
As it relates to Eric, though, your son, the police encounter had something to do with him and cigarettes, right? And so now you are taking this to another level as it relates to the opinion piece you wrote. Listen to the concerns of Black mothers. A menthol ban pales in comparison. Talk a little bit about why you wrote that op-ed and what's in it and what you hope to accomplish as it relates to this menthol ban.
Well, see, the menthol ban is personal to me because um, my son was targeted for selling cigarettes. Although that day he wasn't even selling cigarettes, it's just that he had a target on his back, as they do in most of the Black communities. Now, with the menthol ban, what would happen is now that you're not supposed to smoke menthol, the police will have more access to the Black and brown communities because it's 80% of the Black and brown communities, the people who smoke menthol, which I don't smoke, I never smoked. But still, I don't want my communities to be impacted because they smoke a menthol cigarette. Menthol, as I said before, never killed anyone. It's the tar and nicotine in every cigarette. And they're not banning every cigarette. They're only targeting the Black communities. They're saying that they want to save our lives. They want to save the young children's lives. But now, if you look at statistics, the young people, the youth, are not smoking that many cigarettes anymore. They're smoking weed, which they have legalized. So, I mean, but they're switching the witch for the devil. I mean, tell me what is the concept behind this? And we as Black mothers, we are really against them coming into our neighborhoods because now if they look what would happen if they actually banned the cigarettes. The community, the Black market will open up. It's already there, but it will be more widespread because if people want to smoke, if that's their choice, they're going to get their cigarettes no matter what. I say, it is a health hazard, but I think we should educate and we should have more hospitals. We have some places, say like in Westchester County, that don't even have an operating hospital.
Wow. Yes.
Being that I've been on this journey, I found out so much about, there's so much on these menthol cigarettes, but what about the health care behind it? What about the education behind it? This will help more people than banning those cigarettes because people have their own mind.
Well, we've determined or discovered, and should have known by now, but the menthol ban is already in place here in the District of Columbia. But, we're almost footsteps away from Maryland and Virginia, where there is no ban. And so, we figure those who smoke menthol are probably going into those communities to get the cigarettes. And if cigarettes now become so expensive, I mean, it's now, it's not every man's uh, event, because it is so expensive. But the Biden administration, has delayed announcing its verdict on the ban until March. Today is March the 1st. What are you all doing or how are you focusing on the president's national ban? We know some states have banned menthol already, but this national ban is what you're focused on, correct?
Yes.
Right.
And we say to that, there's other things that he could focus on rather than a national menthol ban.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in fact, Yvonne, Yvette Clark, one of our Congress ladies, she mentioned over 2 years ago about protecting the black women and the black girls, and this is an appropriate month for that. This is what he should be focusing on. This is what he should be prioritizing, and prioritizing the education, the health, not on just a cigarette,
Mm.
because people are going to get their cigarettes if this is what they want. They're going to go into other counties. Let's do it right. Sometimes they make a law. It seems like a good law, but it's with bad consequences.
Right.
And
And
we are going to feel the most impact of these consequences if this ban goes through. So I am really praying that it doesn't go through. But we know that the president is going to do what he wants to do, but we are still speaking out that this is not going to be a good policy.
well, you're battling against a lot of the national Black civil rights organizations who are actually calling for the ban,
Mhm.
and I think the issues that you're raising are significant. And so, what are going to be your next steps?
Well, our next steps, we're still going to be talking loud. We're still going to be speaking out. Even if the ban goes in effect, we're still going to be trying to combat it because we just think that it's going to be a bad idea for our black and brown communities. We're going to have people coming in there, black marketing, selling cigarettes over the internet. All kinds of stuff is going to happen because of this ban. So I think the ban should be rethought.
So, Miss Carr, in addition to what you're fighting against, you're also fighting for the passage of the Black Women and Girls Act. You just mentioned that with Congresswoman Yvette Clark. Tell us a little bit about that and why you think that should be a priority.
I think that should be a priority because now I'm not well versed in it, but I'm enough versed in it to know that this is a serious issue. That black women and girls, we are on the low part of the totem pole when it comes to health, education, economics. They don't recognize us enough to pay us enough, to pay us attention enough. And this need to be prioritized. And I say to the president again, prioritize this first.
How are things going with the foundation?
Oh, the foundation is coming along, and
Hmm.
I would like to say that it has been a joy, like working with people, working with children, trying to get their lives on track. Because we have a lot of people out here we have to save, mostly the youth, and we want to meet them where they are. We don't want to tell them what we want them to do. We want to know what they want to do, so we can help them with that. And the Eric Garner, excuse me, the Eric Initiative Foundation, and this is what we do with that. And every year we have a gala, we raise money so that we can do more work. There's a lot of work to do in the communities. Um, we do turkey giveaways, we do Christmas giveaways, um, we provide food to families because there's a lot of people, even though we are in New York, there's a lot of hungry families. And we try to provide them with their needs the best we can. So that's why we ask for everyone's help to help us to provide for the New Yorkers.
Ms. Card, I really appreciate you being with us today. And I didn't really get a chance to ask, really how you're doing. You're saying this advocacy work really helped you, to to get, I don't think you've ever gotten over it, but to deal with your son's untimely death. And like you said, there are thousands of mothers out here who are experiencing the same thing. Before we go, do you have any advice for some of those mothers that, may be similarly situated, haven't gotten the publicity, but are struggling right at this moment to
Yes,
deal with
there's
that?
a lot of struggling mothers. We have mothers who just can't get out of bed. We have mothers who are in the hospital taking strong medications, and we try to reach those mothers, and we try to tell them, you your child is gone, but don't let the world forget who he is or she is.
Hmm.
Advocate for him, say his name. And if they tell me, well, people don't even remember, they never knew who he was, you make them remember who he was. You form community groups. Your community knew who he was. And let your community help you reach out. And, reach out to us, reach out to the mothers who have communed and have a group, how we talk about things like this and how we can help you. So just don't sit back, because if you don't say nothing, nothing is going to be done. You must uplift your child's name.
And before we go, I'm like the Baptist preacher. I keep saying before we go, and one more thing. But I want to go back to the gala really quickly because this event, where like you said, you raise money to support organizations. But I mean, if there are people here in the Washington area that want to come and participate, is it still? Well, yeah, it's not until September. So what would they need to do?
Yes, they can go to the Eric Initiative Foundation.org. We have a donation button. We have where you can purchase tickets, and people come from all over. When we have this gala, we have people from all around the nation. We have, but last year we had 27 mothers that came from all around the nation to this gala. So this is what we want to represent, that we don't forget about anyone. So please, if you would like to come, please do. And you can. And everything is going to be done in one hotel this year. So you can even rent yourself a room if you want to stay for the weekend.
All right, Ms. Carr, thank you so very much for being with us today. I really appreciate it to have this conversation, and I am in awe. I admire, your tenacity and the work that you're doing in the community. So many mothers need to hear your voice, and so thanks again for being with us.
And thank you for having me.
All righty, have a great one.
And you too.
Okay. Yes, that was Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner, and we do recall when he suffered that untimely and I would say violent police-related death. He kept hollering the words, "I can't breathe," which now we wear on T-shirts and we talk about throughout the community. And so I, feel really honored to have had the chance to talk with her. And hopefully, as I said, she will be an inspiration to others. So if you happen to have watched this segment and you want to share it with someone who thinks, may benefit by hearing her voice, please do so. As well as our next guest, Angela Franco, who is with the DC Chamber of Commerce, who is a advocate for women in business. I am so excited about having her on as our guest right now. Angela, welcome to Let's Talk.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting me, Denise. I'm very, very excited and honored to be here. Thank you.
You are, as we celebrate Women's History Month, you are the president and CEO of the DC Chamber. Not the first, but then you do have your first, right? There's a first that you have. Tell us about that for the chamber.
I'm actually the first Latina, that has had the honor of running the DC Chamber of Commerce. I've been in the role for the last 4 years.
That is, I thought so. I didn't want to overlook that because I think, we need to celebrate all of our achievements. And so it's been great to see you working as hard as you do for the DC Chamber. And were you the former president of the Hispanic Chamber as well?
Yes, so I was the former president of the Hispanic Chamber for 7 years, and most of my career has been working with the business community. I've always been passionate about business transactions. I had my own business when I was 11, even before, because I always liked having my own money. I've always been an independent, financially independent since I was a little girl. I don't know if you're born with it or if you learn it, but I always had that desire to be independently financially. And I had my first business when I was 11. I used to sell jewelry,
Yeah.
um, and I still love it. I sold jewelry for many years. I don't do it now because I don't have time. But eventually, I always say that eventually I'll come back to it.
As the president and CEO of the chamber, as well as the Hispanic Chamber, I'm sure that you've been impacted by the number of women that you're seeing now entering into the world of business and entrepreneurship. But I don't know if you have numbers handy, but well, what does it look like? What does the landscape look like as far as women in business who are members, especially of the chamber?
Yeah, I don't have the statistics handy, but I read about it all the time. And we're growing like 2 times faster than men. And minorities are growing even faster. And in the United States here, there's so many opportunities for minorities and for women in terms of getting certified, having access to opportunities. That is just a great opportunity to be a business owner. I mean, we go through challenges, sometimes difficulties. We are the head of household in many cases. We're the provider in many cases. We have children that we take care of, the house that we take care of. And there's a lot of expectation from women. And that's a lot of the conversations that I have with women business owners. There's so many expectations around everything about around the company or around family with their children, that sometimes you have to be very mindful about keeping that balance to the best of your ability. I mean, Denise, you're a business owner and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's important to keep that balance in terms of saying, okay, there's so much I can do, and I don't have to be perfect by any means.
I think back as my sons are grown now, but when I look back to what my life was like trying to run the Informer and raising two kids in DC, I'm in awe. I don't know how I got through it, but we did, and I'm just curious about how the chamber really supports women-owned businesses, and what you do to encourage women who are trying to keep that balance, but also be successful business owners.
Right. So I'll talk a little bit about my personal involvement as the leader of the organization, and then I'll talk a little bit about the programs and events we have at the chamber to support women-owned business. What I do for me is a passion. I think that when a woman has financial independence and emotional independence, your life is much better in every way. And the way I can support is bringing opportunities that can give them financial independence. So I'm always working with a business owner, helping with a business plan, helping with that connection, directing them into opportunities they have to get certified, and really educating. Sometimes is that access to information or that lack of knowledge that sometimes we have that stops us from getting to the next step. So I want to make sure that whatever I can do to close that gap, I do. With the chamber, we created a women's soup group, and we get together every 3 months. We have a women's luncheon every year. I'll let you know when this one is. We're setting up the date now, but it's in June. We always bring a great speaker from the business world that can bring additional information. And we have 2 or 3 educational events geared towards information for women entrepreneurs, like certification with corporate America, certification with the local government, with the federal government. Procurement is a big deal for me, and I think it's a great opportunity for women-owned businesses. And always looking into what's available. I read a lot. I talk to a lot of people. And I am very intentional about bringing that information to our women-owned businesses.
I mean, it sounds like there's value in being a member of the chamber. I'm doing a commercial for you and saying folks need to
Of
join.
course, of course. I
But
say yes. I say yes.
yeah,
Always.
but go ahead and say why and say why.
You know, a chamber, the way I'm very passionate about chambers of commerce, because chambers are organizations that are there to be of service to businesses. I don't see it any other way. What you have in a chamber of commerce is a platform for a business to succeed. And the way the DC Chamber of Commerce does it is, one, representing the interest of the small business community with government. That means policy. And the second part is through networking and events that can help them connect, get educated, get informed. So for me, it has a lot of value to belong to a chamber, and it's important that you get involved. You can attend one event, and that's a networking event. But if you really want to get involved and get to know the community and get to know your business, I mean, it's a support group for us as business owners, right? Because one, you have to we all have to connect and be with the people that are going to make us great, and people that understand the struggles that we go through. And a chamber of commerce has that platform. It's a platform where you find people that go through the same things you do, so you can have those kind of conversations that are kind of the same level, the struggles you go through, challenges you have that may be not a challenge for another business, and that exchange of information can be very valuable and can come in the perfect time at the perfect moment. But if you don't take the time to be there, get involved, then maybe you miss the opportunity. I always say that whomever doesn't join the chamber is missing the opportunity.
Oh, wow. That makes sense. That makes sense. And let me ask another thing, because, we are all, since COVID, we know the impact that COVID had on our downtown area, the loss of businesses and what have you. But we all are trying to make that big comeback. We're trying to, get more businesses operating in our city core. We don't need to lose them. But what do you think the role women-owned businesses will have or has in revitalizing the city and keeping it, um, at the level where I think our mayor and so many of our elected officials would want to see it be? I mean, what do women do to women-owned businesses do to kind of keep the economy going?
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I'm a firm believer that women are going to end up leading in many fronts, not because, women. No, I just think that we have a unique sensitivity and that deep care about our communities. And if we want to see a change, we are intentional about it. If you want to have your child, you do it, you get it done, you're intentional, you put your heart into it. Here, now that we have a great city that has given us so much, we cannot leave her alone. We all have to be intentional about being in the office, referring businesses, working with the mayor, working with the Office of Economic Development, working with other businesses, and seeing how we can get involved. But what is for sure in my mind and in my heart is that we all are part of the solution. When you start saying, oh, is there a problem to solve? I disagree. I think we all have to take ownership and be part of the solution from the place we can. There's some people that are leading the initiative, but we all can get involved somehow. And that's what we have to strive for, to be intentional about making that difference. In our case, we're back in the office. We are participating. We're doing most of our events downtown. And we are being intentional about participating and attending and being part of the conversation.
That's fantastic. And the last thing I want to ask you, Angela, is just it's a legislative issue. I mean, are there any bills that the chamber is working on right now that will specifically assist women-owned businesses?
Specifically on a local level, that will well, I mean, yes, indirectly, because they help like all kind of
All
businesses.
businesses, right?
So
Okay.
However, there's a bill on a national level that is affecting minorities and, contracts for minorities. And I'm not 100% involved, but what I can say, Denise, is that there's a lot of intentionality in terms of giving opportunities to minority-owned businesses. In DC, we have many corporations. We have the local government. We have the federal government. We have the embassies, and there has been, that I'm sure you have heard, a lot of this conversation about giving opportunities to minority-owned businesses, procurement that everybody hears talk about, certification that everybody hears talk about. Those are real opportunities for women. There's a great certification that is called WeBank, and is a certification for women-owned business to have opportunities with corporate America, and that's a specific to women-owned businesses. And I believe is, except one for the Small Business Administration, is one of the only ones that is targeting specifically women-owned business. And we have to really take advantage of that, because when you look at the spending, the minority is being done in Black and Latinas. So we just have to make sure that we spread the word, that we that we educate ourselves, and the most important, that we support each other. There's business for everybody. There's opportunities for everybody, and it is not worth not to support each other. It's better to elevate each other and to share those opportunities and possibilities with other women-owned businesses.
Great pitch. And I think my last question to you is just to tell folks, how can they become a member of the DC Chamber?
So you can go to the website, that is www.dcchamber.org. The DC Chamber is the only the organization that serves the small business community in the District of Columbia. And if you would see, I mean, I've had the opportunity to be on national boards with chambers of commerce across the United States. I work also with the U.S. Chamber. We work with many local and national organizations, and really the impact that the DC Chamber has is so unique, because we are in the best city in the United States. We have access to a lot of resources just for being in the District of Columbia. And I really would encourage you, if you don't want to become a member yet, please attend the events, because we are here to serve you. We exist because our business community exists, and that's what we're here for.
Wonderful. Angela, thank you. Angela Franco, President and CEO of the DC Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so very much for being with us today. Looking forward to hearing so much more about what the Chamber is doing. So, you can always give us a call and say, look, I've got something for you. Please call, because we want to make sure that we share this information with our viewers and business owners that are just launching every single day. So thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I was very, very happy to participate. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Likewise. See you soon. So, there's so much going on in our community, and we keep asking for more, but if we just participate in the things that are already going on, we just would be busy. And the networking, I think, is so critical, whether it's here, going to New York and supporting Ms. Carr's event, or more importantly, the event that I'm getting ready to have, our next guest is going to talk to us about, that comes every single year. And it's a must-see event. And I'm going to let her tell us about it. And that is none other than Cora Masters-Berry, the Chief Executive Officer of the Recreation Wish List Committee, bringing us information about the exciting Blacks in Wax event that's coming up. And I want you to share the news, Ms. Berry, because you are as excited about it as I am, but you can do it better. So welcome to Let's Talk. I think you're muted. We don't want to miss this. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Go back out and come back in.
So if you would just go back out and come back in, we're going to try it again. There you go. Can you unmute yourself? Okay. All right. We're not gonna miss this opportunity because this program, as you know, Mrs. Berry, the wife of our former mayor, first lady of the District of Columbia, and wife of Mayor Marion Barry, is one of her prides and joys. She's been so busy, but is being the chief executive officer of the Recreation Wish List Committee. Are you there?
Here, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you very well. Thank you. Thank you for coming back.
Sorry, 'cause mine didn't have the little red thing, but glad to be here. Very happy.
Wonderful. So tell
And
us.
I am excited because if you can do anything for 17 years successfully, you've done something. And this is one of those situations that it was just one foot in front of the other. Everyone knows prior to, well, I won't say everyone knows, becoming First Lady, I was a political science professor at the University of the District of Columbia, and I was there for 22 years until my husband became mayor. And at the end of the day, I had to leave. I built a building called the Southeast Tennyson Learning Center, where we take children and treat the whole children. We say tennis is the key, but education, tennis is the hook, and education is the key. And so I said to myself, even though I'm not in the classroom, our children still need to know their history. So
Mhm.
I tried very hard to get them to do it. They were not interested. I'd give them popcorn and candy and sit them in front of the video and show them eyes on the prize, and eventually they'd fall asleep. So one year I said, well, why don't we just act out some things and maybe they could learn that way. And so we did a little program in the library of the Southeast Tennyson Learning Center. And now we are appearing at the Arc and at the Kennedy Center on an annual basis. So it went from the library to the top stage in the city or in the country, which is the Kennedy Center. And of course, our own very own version of that in Ward 8 is the Arc and the journey there. So I'm excited. For 17 years we've done it. It has been it has been an event that inspires, entertains, educates. But the most important thing it does is it builds the self confidence of the young people. It is amazing to watch, and it happens every year for 17 years. Most of them come in saying, I can't do this. I can't possibly memorize all this, and blah, blah, blah. And then by the time they get to the Kennedy Center, they're competing with each other and feeling like they are truly Frederick Douglass or Marion Barry or in this year, Ludacris or whatever. And it changes them for life.
So,
I have a
Ms. Berry,
parent.
why did you decide, or why was it decided this year, which is significant, to focus on hip hop as
Well,
opposed to the traditional Black History themes?
yeah, and that's the mayor asked me the same question because there's a general perception, if you haven't attended most of them, that they're just a rehash of Black history, and each one is unique and very different. Like last year, we did likeness and legends. We did the legends on the screen, but the young people or the younger generation that is following in their footsteps were featured in real time. The Tamika Mallory's or the Ron Modens of the world were on stage last year.
Hmm.
This year, when hip hop came, I noticed that people have a very limited view of the impact of hip hop. It's not just music and gold chains. And I started doing my research and realized how much they changed the society in this country. And so, yes, the culture was important. So I said, well, let's join the crowd or the chorus of 50 years and let's see what that really meant and what was the impact. So that's what we decided to do. So it's called hip hop, the music, the culture, the struggle. So you're going to be entertained, but again, once again, that's true form of blacks and wax. You're also going to be educated and inspired. And so that's why we're doing it. So, right, hip hop tells you that there's going to be music, and I promise you, I'm not even trying to fake it, people. I don't know half these people we doing. I I can get the big names, Kanye and whatever, but I don't know Yo Yo and Brenda Rilla, and I was like, well, who that? Who that? But but I know are they great? Were they great in terms of the music they produced? But they also had an impact. So one of the things we're doing on this one is honoring my dear departed friend. I know you knew her, one of the greatest advocates and fighters for justice that lived, Dr. C. Dolores Tucker.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Dolores Tucker took on hip hop
Yes, she did. Went to jail.
because she couldn't understand and would not stand for us being called bitches and hoes.
Right.
And I mean, every time I say that, Dr. Hyde would just shiver. Does she have to say that? Dr. Hyde, that's what they're saying in the music. She has to say what they say. But people say, what was her impact? Well, her impact was this. No, she couldn't stop them from cussing. But as a result of her movement, they had to put labels on the music and they required them to do a clean version of everything they did. That was her impact.
Wow. That's a good story.
So it is a good story. And
Mhm.
she testified in front of Congress, took my daughter, borrowed her to walk around with signs. I mean, she was a great advocate uh, for the decency of the music and the negative impact it had on the language. And so she's in it. And then people like Sylvia Rome, she's a woman behind the scenes, but she's known as the mother of hip hop because she's the one who got all those artists signed up. Nobody even have ever, in our world, we know Sylvia Rome, but in the general population, they don't know she existed. And
So
she was,
how
hmm?
I'm sorry, how did you all select the artists that you wanted to have portrayed this year by young people in the Blacks and Wax hip hop event? Who,
Well,
how did you curate that?
Well, first of all, we have a prolific writer, Sheba Haley, who works for the Smithsonian, works for actually Lonnie Bunt. And so she did a lot of research. There's a young man named Masan the General that is a part of Until Freedom with Tamika Mallory. We retained his services because he's a hip hop expert, aficionado. And just got down to, well, there's so many. So it got, and it's live airing. Those that we may not have doing it, you'll see them doing something up on the screen. I think it got down to one of the things at the end of the day, a production. So it got down to name recognition, and then the
Hmm.
second down to was contribution. So we had some not so famous people on there because you have to tell the story of what happened in the background. But we have Ludacris and we have MC Light and we have Missy Elliott and we have LL Cool J and we have Salt and Pepper and we have Grandmaster Flash and we have, I don't know, I'm starting lying now. We have all
Use my daddy's phrase. You had Lottie Dottie and almost everybody.
not only are they performing, not only are they speaking, but the costumes are off the chain. And thanks for Pepco. I can say their name 400 times.
For
They stepped
supporting.
us a presenting scholars contribution, which allowed us to really take this to another level if it's possible, because the whole costume is new. We had to do new costuming for 70 something children.
Wow, that's good. And what are the ages of those children?
Well, from 5 to 17.
Wow, that's really great. And most from the DC area?
They're from Southeast Washington. Excuse me.
Okay, I just want you to be clear.
It was so phenomenal last year that our great director of recreation, Miss Jeannie Frank, said this has got to get bigger last year. So we did open it up to some of the other rec centers within the agency of Department of Parks and Rec. So we have some kids from Berry Farms, we have some kids from Trinidad, and some kids from Marshall Heights. So yeah, but it's our kids.
That's wonderful. That's
The
wonderful.
first time the mayor went to see it, she kept asking me, who are these kids? And I said, they're our kids. No, I mean, who are they? I said, he said, well, where are the kids that go to your center? I said, that's them. So
Wow.
the
Yes.
transformation is amazing.
Yeah, we underestimate a lot of our children. We look at them and have all these negative thoughts, but you've given them opportunities to show that, they're smart, they have skills, they're talented, they want to do the right thing. And I commend you for that. When is this event going to take place? Because we've talked a lot about it, but we didn't give a date.
Week from today at the Arc at 1 o'clock is our show for the seniors and the schools. And then at 6 o'clock is for the community. And then a week later, and a day, on the 16th at the John F. Kennedy Millennial Stage. And and that is at, let me have to look at, I think we have that there. We have it at 4 for the museum. It's a two-part thing. It's you walk through the hallway and the kids are in frozen and you hit their button and they come alive. That's the museum. Then
Mm-hmm.
the vignette, which is on stage. And that's at 5 o'clock at the Kennedy Center. So
Well,
1 o'clock and 6 o'clock at the Arc a week from today, the 8th on Friday, and on the following Saturday on the 16th at the Kennedy Center.
well, Ms. Berry, I have to personally just, say thank you because, you, like you said, 17 years, it's been a success. People talk about it during the event, after the event, and just the fact that you've given this an opportunity. I mean, we're running out of time, but do you have a story maybe of one of the young people that participated in this that really it sort of shows why it's so important to do this?
It's important, like I said, it builds them self-confidence, and most of the kids see themselves differently after they do this. But I have a particular one. I have a young man, and I don't know how to describe him, but he's about 7.5, 8 years old. And the moment I saw him, I said to myself, if we don't do something, this young man is going to have a number above his head or a grade side. I just knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Blacks and Wax came around, and he was very subtle, held back, had a real grown demeanor about him. You could tell he had been around a lot of uncles and brothers and kids and boys in the neighborhood, and he was on his way. And so we got him. We found out his special talent was he could dance. So we asked him would he join us as a break dancer. And so he said, well, you have a voice. Start giving them little by little more things, and it just changed. I watched a recent story. This is in real time story. This production right here, I've watched the metamorphosis of this young man. To one day, his mother came, and she was the mother that you stereotypical used to accustomed to seeing him. She called me. She said, Miss Barry, I don't know what to say except thank you. And she started crying. You're saving my child's life. He's so excited about this. He's never really wanted to ever do anything. And he's really involved. So we're not finished with him. We're going to take him to New York, take him to the U.S. Open. We're going to do a whole bunch of things. So that is a good story.
Yeah.
But I see where we're going with it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I know that I know there are probably many others, but I didn't want you to leave without, saying and showing. And you've been an example of what happens when we embrace our young people and give them something constructive and adding that historical perspective. Because,
they're learning about themselves.
Exactly. So I want to thank you so very much for being with us today, for sharing all this great news. You never disappoint. You're always bringing on more, and just don't get tired. Don't get tired.
Well, I'm getting a little tired, but I'm also training other people.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's what we got to do. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We will see you. We will be there to cover either at the Arc or the Kennedy Center. We want to make sure we get the story out, but I really appreciate spending this time with us this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we are running out of time, but Mrs. Berry talked about Thenie Freeman, who's the new director. Well, she's not new anymore, but the director of the DC Department of Recreation and Parks. And I hope folks are getting ready because we're getting ready to do a Fit DC, her story. I said, Thenie, I don't know if I'm going to be out there, but.
Yes, you will. It's easy.
I can walk it.
You can walk it. You can crawl it. You can jot it. You can strut it. Just do it.
Tell us when this is going to take place.
Saturday, March 9th at Freedom Plaza, B downtown. Mayor Muriel Bowser presents the 6th annual Her Story event, 5K. It is our launch into Women's History Month. And women, we are fit, we are fabulous, we are fun, we are furious, and we love to fellowship. So bring all of your girlfriends with you and come on down.
Thenie, what? No, go ahead.
One of the things, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that, I think no, I'm not throwing shade on any past directors of the Department of Rec, but I gotta say that you have brought so much energy to the recreation department. I mean, it reminds me of the department that I grew up in DC, where there were all these programs, and people keep saying there's no programs, but they just got to go check them out. And I want to commend you. I know that you're here to talk about her story, the 5K, but I'd like for you to let folks know that we got a new swimming pool over here in Ward 8. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Baloo swimming pool is open. Fairby Hope is open. Baloo just open. Please, you can get your lap lanes in. It's open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Closed during student hours to allow the students to Baloo to build their swim team. But we're excited about this new partnership and Baloo having community access hours. So by all means, come on to Baloo. It is there for you to use. It is for the community. And so we love to have you. I love to swim. It is my therapy. The pools, I enjoy going to a particular one, and hopefully I'll see you at Berry Farms.
That's what I was about to say. Baloo is open, but also, I mean, one of the better pools in the city that folks say, all of them are good, but I hear a lot of things about Berry Farm. It's a great place. It's a great pool. So there's sort of a equalizer that's happening now in Department of Rec that you're bringing, I think, throughout the city. So I'm really excited about that. But this 5K has been going on for 6 years.
Yes.
Can you talk about, how this impacts the community and what you all are doing in addition to that to get a focus on women's health?
Absolutely. So again, 6th annual, we're partnering with the Mayor's Office of Women's Policy. And so MOPI, and so they'll be there. There'll be a special activation for women. Pacers running a woman-owned business will be there with a shoe borrowing program. We also have Black Bella Spa. That's a business in Ward 8 right at Sycamore and Oak is a sponsor, in addition to Craken Courts, all women-owned businesses that are supporting our health and wellness, because we know that as a woman, women's health is important, right? So many of us are mothers. We take care of the whole community, not just mothers to our own children. I saw Cora Massarsberry, former First Lady, forever First Lady, I call her, who also mothers me. And so that's another shout out to Blacks and Wax, SETLC, which is another program under the DPR portfolio that we're just so proud to have.
Well, one of the concerns that people are talking about, and that's why I think this is so important, when we had First Lady Michelle Obama in the office, I mean, one of the things that she really stressed was health for children, I mean, all generations, but also this anti-obesity campaigns that so everybody was having their own in-office Biggest Losers campaign, right? People were losing. That has totally reversed itself. Right. And so we're finding much more obesity, much more illnesses that impact women. I'm sure that's a concern of yours. And how in other programs, are you all in the Department of Rec trying to address that?
So I don't want to discredit COVID and the impacts that it had on our children, right? Because for 18 months, our children were required to be at home. And, especially our children who may have not had the best technology, although schools did provide technology, there are some parts of our city where just, even if you have Wi-Fi, it's just not that great, right? And you just didn't have the ability to enter into physical activities. And so our children got really comfortable at being at home and being on their devices. And so we recognize that. Even in our Supreme Team programs, our late night hype series is designed to have activation so that young people can do just that, can move. We have a robust sports health and fitness program here at DPR so that our young people can do just that, move. We're excited about our new recreation facilities that are coming aboard. The Anacostia Rec at Ketchum will have a walking trail where members can move. We're partnering with the schools, the local schools, to see how we can support after school so that we can have our young people. We have a Passport for Your Palate class that teaches young people how to cook. We have a Daddy and Me cooking class. And so health and wellness is key. And I appreciate that reminder about First Lady Michelle Obama. at the time I was at Watkins Elementary School, and we were one of the schools that was selected to participate in the garden. And so, right. And so DPR has an environmental program where we have 7 communal farms and community gardens. And so part of our curriculum is getting our young people immersed in learning how to grow, plant, and harvest foods.
That's all. Again, I just get the hair on my neck, which little hair is there, but goes up when I hear people say there are not enough programs. When you named at least 30 just there. But I also want to just talk about, since we're talking about Women's History Month and we're talking about women and adults and even our seniors, because the Department of Recreation serves, I think, the entire community. But can you talk a little bit about how you're serving adults and adult women and senior women?
So I don't call them seniors. I call them
Okay.
teenagers. I call them teenagers.
Teenagers.
But they are more active than ever before, right? And so to your point, where you have the teens who may be less active and less physically active, the teenagers are more physically active. They're more physically fit. They're going to the pools every morning. They're holding us accountable to make sure that we have the partnership with the UDC Bodywise and YMCA so that they can do Learn to Swim. And then we have the water wizards, right? And then, even the social aspect of it. DC is a heavily government town. So you can have someone who started their career at 18 in the federal government and has since retired around 55, right? And they're relatively young. And so we're seeing them in our recreation centers, in our senior programs. They're making jewelry, they're making shea butter. We just had a red, white, and U ball. We had a senior prom. Our seniors went to Camp Riverview and showed out. I mean, the senior lunch cruise sold out on the first day. We had to add a second show. And we're just, extremely popular, and we're proud of the investments that Mayor Bowser has put into the Department of Recreation, because she sees that we've gotten really popular over the last years. And the last 2 directors may not have had the resources that we have. They laid the foundation, and now I just have an obligation to, do a little more.
Well, I am really glad that you took a little time out of your schedule to talk about this 5K. Let's go back and just give folks some specifics about when, how they can sign up, participate, donate, whatever you want folks to do. Let's go back to that.
So it's free.
Okay.
Go to dpr.events. It will be Saturday, March 9th at Freedom Plaza. And so get your girl groups, get your girls, come walk. And then while you're downtown, go get brunch. Sign up online, get a t-shirt. That's right.
You said work the calories off, and then you can go get them back.
And put them back on. I mean, it's a Saturday. We're going to do it anyway. At least you start with the negative, right? So if you start with the minus so many calories, then you put them back on.
Well, what people need to understand is when they exercise, that exercise helps to continue to burn. So you won't put them all back on, right?
That's right. But it's okay. Well, you be downtown, so stay downtown. And while you're downtown, find a brunch spot, eat a snack, maybe pick up some shopping for Easter coming up or whatever. Just love on your city and spend some time in it. And so DC Department of Parks and Recreation, we're intentional about having activations that are free to our constituents so that they can just do that.
Wathini Freeman, thank you so very much for being with us. Thank you for all the support that you give to organizations. You do support organizations as well. So we might talk about that at another time with events that are coming on your stage and all the resources that you bring for people who really want to have their own events. I mean, you're definitely running a community organization that's housed with the district government, and you have that community influence or impact in your head. You want to make sure that the community benefits from the work that you all are doing. So we love having you on. Thanks for sharing this. And hopefully I will see you as well.
Before I go, because you said we do have grants. The application is open now. So Rec for All grants, so that you can do just that. If you're an organization out there that serves youth and you're interested in partnering with the DPR, please visit our website. The application closes on March 5th. So you have time to get your grant application in. You can do an event, a grant to serve, to do an event. You can do travel. If you travel, you have a basketball, football team. Please, organizations, community, I love my community. And we love to serve you all. So help us serve you and apply for the grants on time.
All right. Thank you, Feenie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. All righty. Wow, I didn't even know about that grants program. That's wonderful. I hope that you all heard that, and that if you do have a program, because I get calls, people trying to get a little bit of money here and there to take kids someplace or feed kids or buy uniforms for kids. Look, get that grant application in right now. There are other organizations that do the same thing, and we want to make sure we bring that to you all as well, because there's a lot of money flowing around and no need in letting it go. You need to be a part of that. So I would just want to say in closing, because we run over like we always do, I'm sorry about that, but thank you for watching Let's Talk today. We want to thank our guests, Gwen Carr, Angela Franco, Cora Masters-Berry, and Thene Freeman, for joining us and sharing their perspectives. Remember, change begins with awareness and dialogue. Thank you all for posting those comments in the show. We love hearing from you. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to read some of them. Even from my mom, who's always a wonderful fan. I appreciate Vera Abbott for watching Win TV and being our cheerleader. And so again, let's continue to spark conversations, break barriers, and build a more inclusive future. If you think you are involved, if you know or believe you're involved in a program that would make a great segment on Win TV, please feel free to reach out to us at news, NEWS, at WashingtonInformer.com. That's news at WashingtonInformer.com. Come on, we want to invite you on. If you're serving the community or doing a program that you think really makes a difference and folks need to know about it, we want to know about it. So tune in next week for more inspiring discussions and impactful stories. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.